Hello and welcome, this is your Trophy Boy. If you know this channel, then you know I am a trophy hunter. I mean, it's pretty obvious. Have you seen the intro? Where I spin around in my Dark Souls hoodie like a loading screen icon while holding a glass shaped like a PlayStation trophy, and the words Trophy Boy are written in obnoxiously huge letters? It's hard to miss. Believe me, this channel is not called this way because I was such a sporting ace in middle school. So yeah, maybe I like these virtual, well-done pats on the back because I could never get one in real life. Both my older siblings got medals for running fast or jumping high, while all I wanted to do is getting carried by my mother when we took a hike. So when I first got my PlayStation 3, the trophy system already existed and I played my first PS3 game, Tekken 6. I can't remember what the first trophy was I unlocked, and the PlayStation Network can't either because I wasn't hooked up to the internet yet. Look at that! No timestamp, no date. It was probably this one with the highest percentage. But I do remember seeing that icon, hearing that famous bling and instantly going, "What was that?" 220 platinum trophies later, here we are. But I am no platinum trophy hunter. I am 100% trophy hunter. And this has not always been easy, because sometimes a game that has been pretty manageable trophy-wise up until the platinum gets a DLC afterwards that ups the difficulty to 11. I'll tell you all about it. Here are 7 games that became significantly harder to complete with their DLC. The first item on this list is a game about a PlayStation icon everyone knows. I am talking about Crash Bandicoot. And other than most of his similarly famous icon equivalents, here's looking at you, Spyro. That game is really tough as nails. I remember well when the remastered Insane Trilogy came out on PS4 and people who played Crash Bandicoot on the original PlayStation were all getting frustrated because they couldn't believe their childhood game was so challenging. That being said, I like Spyro better. So getting the Platinum Trophy for a Crash game has already been very challenging as it is. You have to collect all the crates and get at least a gold relic for the time challenges on every single level. And with the fan favorite PTSD triggering stage High Road included, it's needless to say, most people didn't pull it off. But even if you got that far, rushed through all the levels like a champ, collected every single box everywhere, there is still one challenge left on that road to 100% trophy completion that can break the best of us.
Never before have 2 words accounted for so much nightmares. Stormy Ascent.
The Stormy Ascent stage was cut from the original Crash Bandicoot game because, well, it was just too freaking hard. But then the responsible people thought, for the remastered version, let's just include it. They have got the decency to put it out as free DLC, so not locking people out of the platinum for it, but what difference does that make to a completionist like me? I still had to do it. The developers thought maybe gamers aged like fine wine and could pull it off now in this day and age, and guess what? They were right. At least for a minority of people with iron willpower to try over and over again. Or even more accurate, for people with no willpower at all that just let it be and ignore the low percentage of this particular game for once. Getting all the crates in that level isn't the hardest part. You need to have 99 lives for the platinum anyways, so you know how to farm them by now. And then you just need a good guide and get those crates one by one. If I remember correctly, I think when I first started this level I had 99 lives, and when I reached the finish line I had maybe 4 lives left? Something like that. But the real deal is the gold relic. You have to beat the stage in a certain amount of time. No deaths, no dawdling. Just complete the stage in one go. And after a humongous amount of tries, I did it! And this is definitely one of those trophies I am prouder of. Sometimes I scroll through the trophy lists of other people, and if they got a platinum for any Crash game, they got my respect. But if you see the 100% on Crash 1, that's a different kind of mutual admiration. My next entry is a game the whole world has rightfully enjoyed, except for the Britons, because for them it's spelled incorrectly.
Ha! That's the kind of smack talk you get for leaving the EU.
Brexit joke.
Except for the PlayStation Access team. I love you.
I am talking about Dishonored. I think I have never played a game that gives you so much freedom. There literally is a trophy for not killing a single person in an entire playthrough and another one for wreaking as much havoc as possible and killing pretty much everyone who comes into sight. And this absolute gem of a game comes with 3 DLCs. There are the Knife of Dunwall and the Brigmore Witches, which give you more story to play through, enrich the game and add more dimensions to some characters. And then there's the Dunwall City Trials. Okay, quick shout out to my brother-in-law here. He sometimes gives me games as presents for my birthday or Christmas. Without him, I would have probably never played The Witcher 3, read the books afterwards and watched the Netflix show knowing it could be so much better. Without him, I would not have played Dark Souls and missed out of one of the most profound gaming experiences of my life. And he also gave me Dishonored as a present. And although I never was a fan of first-person games, until I had PSVR that is, I played it, and I really enjoyed it. And it wasn't until I reached the Dunwall City Trials DLC until I realized what he had done to me. This DLC has nothing to do with the story. There are no difficulty options. This is a game mode purely for highlighting gameplay. And these trials have ranks. And of course you have to complete all of them with a 3-star ranking. And obviously that is really hard. But that's not enough. There are some trophies which require you to do very specific things within the already incredibly difficult trials. 3 stand out the most and very few people have had the stamina and endurance to get them. The Daredevil trophy needs you to do a set of 6 very specific jumps in one round of the Bonfires trial. You don't know what these jumps are unless you look online or find out how all of them work by accident, as after doing one a message will pop up. And these jumps are hard enough to pull off as it is, but you need to do them within a trial where the checkpoints you need to pass appear in a random order every time. And there's a timer going down if you don't reach them fast enough. So it's almost impossible to be able to do all 6 special jumps without getting to the game over screen first. The second trophy of that kind, called By My Hand Alone, must be done in the Back Alley Brawl trial. There are 13 waves of opponents you have to eliminate without dying. Even getting to the final wave is excruciatingly difficult, but some enemies even attack one another. And for this trophy, you need to make sure to kill every one of them yourself, meaning you have to kill the real powerful enemies as quickly as possible to make sure they do not steal a kill from you. Which on the other hand makes it harder to survive for yourself, because you have to defeat more people you would have to normally. So it's very stressful to say the least. The last really hard trophy is called Headhunter, where you have to complete the Assassin's Run trial with 100% accuracy using only headshots. So if you hit one enemy on the body and finish him off with a headshot anyway, it doesn't count because you lost your accuracy. If you miss a head just once, you have to start over. And there are some incredibly difficult shots you have to nail, often in a very short amount of time to aim. Doing this on a PC with a mouse is much easier, but with a controller, better start praying now. The next entry is a game you probably won't think of as hard by the looks of it. Overcooked 2 is a very funny game meant for playing in co-op. You have to prepare meals and deliver them to the customers at their tables without messing up orders, burning food, running into traffic or falling into the ocean. Just like working in a restaurant in real life! And the hardest part of getting the platinum is getting a 3-star ranking in every single level. The problem is that in the DLC stages, the time available to get enough points for 3 stars is really scarce. They even patched the Surf and Turf and Campfire Cook-Off in that regard because the developers realized it's almost impossible. There are 4 DLCs and all of them are much harder than the base game. But what stands out the most is the Night of the Hangry Horde DLC, where you are attacked by the Unbred. I'm not making this up, I swear. So there are stages where you need to feed the zombie food before it breaks through the gates. These stages are a welcome change to the otherwise very monotonous gameplay, but it's just the very last stage that is extremely difficult to pull off with just 2 players. I ended up doing it in a team of 3, but it still was quite stressful. So do not underestimate that cute game. It's still very fun though. I love the Soulsborne series. Bloodborne was the 3rd title of that genre I played right after the Dark Souls Prepare to Die edition and the original Demon's Souls. For a lot of people, Bloodborne is the best one, and I get it. The gothic, Victorian, H.P. Lovecraft setting is a nice change to the medieval fantasy environment one was used to from the Dark Souls series. And the sped up gameplay, which didn't rely on hiding behind shields anymore, was a literal game changer. And like all the other post-Demon's Souls from Software titles, except Yarasine, but I have played that one too, it is a difficult game. But people who are familiar with these titles know they are not difficult just for the sake of difficulty. Although that seems to be what people agreed on stating, I mean people who have never played these games, at least not properly. They are challenging and had a unique way of looking at gameplay that has since been copied many times, but they always reward you for learning how to fight properly. Bloodborne is no exception. It is hard to get to Platinum, but if you manage to beat the harder bosses like Ebrietas, you're pretty much good to go. And then came the Old Hunters DLC. And as opposed to other DLC in Souls games, new trophies also have been added, which I really like, because then you can prove you went back into the game and defeated those even harder bosses. And that's exactly what you have to do in the Old Hunters DLC. Defeat harder bosses. But the spot on this list is well deserved simply because of one particular abomination. The Orphan, of course. Just listen to that scream. This boss is not merely challenging. This boss is not only hard to defeat. This is the embodiment of jumping into an active volcano, spitting on the boiling lava, hoping to get out in time to put a small band-aid on your blistering wounds, just to jump back in, spit on the lava again, to see if you can extinguish the fire. That's exactly it. So if you strive for a victory in this fight, just follow these 5 simple steps. Run in, try to get in a few hits, back off, heal, repeat. If you try this often enough, chances are it might actually work someday. Alright, let's just talk about The Last of Us. Both parts. If you just look at the requirements for their platinum trophies, you will notice huge differences. In the original game, you had to complete the game on Survivor mode and on Survivor Plus, meaning you had to turn on what was the highest available difficulty on release and beat the game in that setting twice. The second one actually being easier because you had all your gear and updated stats from the get-go, but nevertheless it was hard. In addition, there has been an online mode that really takes a long time to complete, and you have to beat that one twice as well, once as a hunter and as a firefly. Yes, the good thing was you didn't need to win any matches. Believe me, I have the platinum, I played a lot of matches, but I think I can count the times I was in the winning team on one hand. But you needed to complete the journey, meaning you had to accomplish certain missions within 3 matches to make your virtual clan bigger. But over the course of 12 virtual weeks, which are 84 days that equal 84 matches, there are a total of 5 missions where you could lose your entire clan. Meaning, if you mess up one of those missions, you would have to start the whole journey from the get-go. Long story short, getting the platinum in this game is hard. Fast forward to The Last of Us Part 2 and you get a really easy platinum. Difficulty setting doesn't matter, you can do the whole thing on easy. There isn't even a multiplayer mode. Fair enough, I prefer that particular part. But still, what I have recognized is that the big AAA PlayStation exclusives all have had the same pattern here for a long time. Horizon Zero Dawn, God of War, Spider-Man, Days Gone, The Last of Us Part 2 and Ghost of Tsushima. All of these games had platinum trophies that could be achieved by playing the whole game on easy mode. In my opinion, this makes these platinum trophies much less exciting to get. They are a lot more common and because of that, less valuable. I mean in regard to the feeling of pride and achievement when you get it. To me, it looks like Sony executives tell their studios that they shall not exclude casual gamers from the Platinum, so they can sell even more of them. And that is my personal conspiracy theory. You noticed I'm not a fan of this. But anyway, both Last of Us titles have one thing in common. They do not mess around when it comes to DLC trophies. In the first part, you had to complete the game on Grounded Mode and Grounded Mode Plus, which was even more painstakingly difficult than Survivor Mode. And multiplayer-wise, they added some new stages and trophies for getting at least 3 executions without dying even once. In an entire match! Are they mad? They actually changed these trophy requirements in the remastered edition on PS4 to at least 5 executions, but you could die. I got those ones, but for the respective PS3 trophies, you pretty much had to boost it with 7 other players you all knew to be able to get it. And as for The Last of Us Part 2, they also added Grounded Mode, and just for the fun of it, they also added a permadeath mode. On the upside, you didn't have to combine these two. You want more zombies? Days Gone is another big PlayStation exclusive that had a pretty easy Platinum trophy. And they also added trophies for a harder survival mode and New Game Plus. But the really hard edition has been the challenge mode, similar to Dishonored Stonewall City Trials DLC. Concentrating on gameplay rather than story, you had to complete 12 challenges and get a gold medal in every one of them. The frustrating thing was that the very first challenge they put out was actually the hardest one, so a lot of people gave up right away because they feared what was yet to come. Turned out, a lot of the other ones were significantly easier. The road to the gold medal was often to concentrate on the sub-challenges. You had to complete all of them anyway for the trophy too. There were some race courses, with one particularly hard one called Outright, where you had to drive pretty perfect all the while drifting to get some extra points. Other challenges included clearing out enemy camps or fighting the famous big hordes that game is known for. But the very first challenge, called Surrounded, really remained the hardest part. If you can pull that one off, the rest isn't that much of a problem. For my last entry, let's sort of time travel, okay? I know, PS5 is out already, and my lists full of PS4 titles seem outdated to begin with, but I still have one PS3 title I want to put on this list. I have to admit something I will get a lot of bullshit for. I have never played, nor have I ever been interested in a Grand Theft Auto game. I cannot even tell you why, because I don't know exactly. But back in 2010 or 11, I heard about Rockstar Games' Red Dead Redemption. A Wild West story where you play a lone outlaw, roaming the Wild West on your horse, shooting the bad guys or robbing the good ones. It just sounded great, okay? And one day I just saw this in a retail store. A hard disk copy of all the DLCs from that game. Now I really think it's funny this ever has been published. The disc includes all DLC for Red Dead Redemption, but missing the main game entirely. You could play Red Dead Redemption's online multiplayer mode with access to all the DLC that has been released for it, and you could play the offline Undead Nightmare mode, but you could not play the main single-player story. I mean, when I first put in this disc in May of 2011, the game already being a year old, I didn't mind that I couldn't even complete it. I was not a huge trophy hunter back then, so I finished the first few missions, but I thought it was too hard. Since Undead Nightmare is an expansion meant for players who completed, well, the actual game, there wasn't much of a tutorial on how to do anything. I mean, I figured the basics out, but I still had no training in that game whatsoever. I didn't know the map, I didn't know advanced controls, and let's be honest, I was a casual gamer back then. So yeah, long story short, I figured it was too hard. And after unlocking one trophy for completing the first mission of Undead Nightmare, I put it down with 1% trophy progress and never touched it again. And it was sitting there at the bottom of my trophy list at 1% for more than 7 years, when out of the blue, a PSN friend of mine sent me a direct message. He had just gotten the platinum for this game, he noticed I hadn't finished it, and just wanted to tell me that it is still great fun and there are still a lot of people playing it online. So yeah, I opened up the PlayStation Store on my PS3, which I hadn't done in years, and the game even was on sale at that moment. I immediately bought it, got the platinum trophy and completed all the DLC trophies with the friend that told me about it. So why is it on this list? The DLCs have quite a few challenging trophies, the hardest one being called Kingpin. For that one, you have to fight off 8 unique players during your time on top during land grab in multiplayer free roam. So you have to start a game of land grab with more than 9 players in the vicinity, including yourself, then you have to be the one controlling the territory and defend it, killing 8 different people before they kill you. In other words, you will not get this legitimately. I had to boost this one, and this was the first time I rallied up 8 people online to do this with me. I mean, it was a success in the end, but man, that was quite a tedious task. Alright, that's it for today. Are DLC trophies something you need to do, or are you only interested in platinum trophies? How much of these hard DLC trophies did you get? Are there any games with DLCs that make the game itself significantly harder that I missed? Tell me in the comments! Don't forget to smash that like button, subscribe to this channel and hit the notification bell to not miss any future videos. Stay safe, I see you next time.